This isn't normally a video old JSNIP4 does, but there's a lot of stuff old JSNIP4 pays attention to, reads, but may not mention ever, just because I don't do videos on that kind of stuff. But this is one of those things. China claims to have a working version of NASA's Impossible Engine orbiting the Earth and will use it in satellites imminently. The scientists have said they've created a prototype and are testing it in orbit. They plan on, it's called the EMDrive. It creates thrust by bouncing microwaves around a chamber. And it's supposedly, scientifically, not possible. The best scientists say it's not possible, so it's not possible. I bet people in the scientific community, looking back, said to themselves, probably every day, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, science says it's not possible. And then it became possible. Scientists in China claim they've created a working prototype of the so-called impossible reactionless engine. And they're telling us that they're testing it in orbit currently in a prototype. The radical free or fuel-free EMDrive recently stirred up controversy after a paper published by a team of NASA researchers appeared to show they'd successfully built the technology. Of course, it wasn't even able to be built. The first thing, it's not even possible. If the physics-defying concept is brought to reality, it's said the engine could get humans to Mars in just 10 weeks. But now, scientists with the China Academy of Space Technology claim NASA's results reconfirm what they've already achieved and have plans to implement it in satellites as quickly as possible. Now, what was that thing Ken Fromm told Lindsey Williams before he died? Watch China. China's the big one. I would say so. We used to be number one. Okay? I know it hurts to say that and to hear that. We used to be number one. And I know Donald Trump's going to come in here and try to make us great again. But I don't think at this stage in the planet Earth, there's going to be any stopping China. They have the same kind of technology we have. They have aircraft carriers. They have fighter jets. We have those things. They have computers. They do programming. They have electronics. So do we, they're just taking over. Love it or not, they're taking over. With no fuel to eject, the EMDrive would violate Newton's third law, which states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. At a press conference in Beijing, however, researchers with CAST confirmed the government has been funding research into the technology since 2010 and claimed they've developed a device that's already being tested in low Earth orbit as we speak. Now, back to the China, watch China, the big one. Are we testing one of these in space right now? I'm going to use it in satellites? No, we're not. Is China? Yes, they are. It's already up there. So about the whole comment I made, they're leaving us behind. We were the first, we're the one and only superpower. We're the best. So was Rome. Rome was fantastic at one point. And now there's nothing left of it. Except the filthy, rotten Vatican, Rome, Catholic Church. But aside from that, there's nothing really left besides empty old city-states that have now become something else. It comes just a month after anonymous sources told IB Times UK that tests on the EMDrive were underway aboard the Tiangong 2. Or is that the Tiangong 2? National research institutions in recent years have carried out a series of long-term repeated tests on the EMDrive. Dr. Chen Yu, head of the Communication Satellite Division at CAST, said at a press conference, NASA's published test results can be said to reconfirm the technology. We have successfully developed several specifications of multiple prototype principles. The establishment of an experimental verification platform to complete the milli-level micro-thrust measurement test, as well as several years of repeated experiments and investigations into corresponding interference factors, confirm that in this type of thrust does in fact exist. CAST is a subsidiary of the Chinese Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation and the manufacturer of Dong Fang Hong satellites. How about Dong Fang Hung satellites? That sounds better to me. For it to work on a satellite, they will need to bring the levels up to something like between 0.1-1 newtons. This means they will have to improve the cavity design to reduce electrical losses and develop a solution for the placement of the microwave thruster on the satellite itself. This technology is currently in the latter stages of the proof of principle phase, with the goal of making the technology available in satellite engineering as quickly as possible, Li Feng said at the conference. Although it is difficult to do this, we have the confidence that we will succeed, he said. Following the official publication of the NASA research last month, many have dismissed the results as an experimental error. This includes Advanced Propulsion Systems expert Bryce Cassenti, who says there is likely a mundane explanation behind the findings. But while the expert argues that there's a slim probability that the results will hold up in further investigation, he also notes that it's not zero probability. So you're saying there's a chance. That's right. The violations seen in the EMDrive concept would invalidate much of the basis for all of the physics as we know it, Cassenti, an engineering professor at the University of Connecticut, told Yukon Today. Of course it will, because we always think we have it right. And there's these laws of physics and thermodynamics. It breaks the law. We're not even willing to look at the data. It can't break that law, so we're not even going to look at the data. You ain't a real scientist if you don't look at the data and scratch your head and say, what if? What if the laws need to be modified, changed? The data is, as a matter of fact, punching you in the face, telling you you need to rethink things. You need to relook at some stuff. No, I can't do that. Newton's law. Why do scientists get so hung up on that crap? If the data comes back, do it again. If it comes back again, you've got something. I don't care what the laws of anything say. Physics, nonsense. I don't care. Whatever it is, investigate it. And have the understanding and open mind that law might be broken, if you know what I mean. And if it is, I guess it wasn't proper to begin with, was it? Which means what? What he just said. Invalidate much of the basis for all of physics as we know it. We're going to have to rethink the whole thing called physics. Oh, quick look surprised. We had it wrong. So this is interesting technology. I started to read it at first like, is there any word of, like silver? Does this thing use silver? New Electrics, Webbot, by chance? Even if it did, I don't think there's enough satellites and things out there to use such an amount of silver that it's going to cause a problem. Such as if there was a generation device you could, put next to your house, like a small generator or something, or even double the size of a generator, that could produce energy, and it needed silver, but you didn't have to put fuel in it for a very, 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 very long time, and the fuel, part of the fuel was the silver, etc. Every freaking household in America and on the planet Earth would want one. That might cause a little drain on the silver supply, okay? But I was looking, and of course, it's too secret and whatever now to even figure that out. And they did have a picture of this thing. I'm not sure where this is actually. I'll just show you this in case you want to see it. It kind of looks like a thruster, you know what I mean? Well, naturally, it's probably going to have that shape. And I'm looking at some things in here. Do I see silver? No, it looks like some stainless steel and things. Okay, never mind. So, anyways, interesting stuff. I am fascinated by things like this technology, and it is really, regardless of the banking and doom and gloom stuff we're probably going to be facing, it's still a fantastic time to be around. Would you rather be around now with all this incredible technology, or would you rather be around horse and buggy, sweating everywhere, no, maybe barely running water, possibly, no air conditioning, no heat, you're making fires, or do you want to live like we live these days? And I think sometimes, it would be cool to live in those days. As in, give me a time machine, let me check it out for a little while, and then when I've had enough, which will be in a few days, okay, let me go back to my, back to reality where I live. And the reason being is just this. Does anybody out there remember dial-up internet? You'd call the little AOL thing or whoever you had. You hear the modem, and because the little modem had a speaker in your computer. And then you were connected. What in the hell? Why did you even have to hear that? Why did they even make it do that? Who knows? And then this thing came out, at least first for me in my area, cable modems. We didn't have DSL. We had cable modems through Roadrunner. And I don't even know what the first speed was, 1 megabit or something, 1.5 megabits. It wasn't anything to brag about. But I was on dial-up, okay? And when I got that, it was fantastic. I told myself that day when I tested it, was playing around the internet, and everything was just flying in front of my face. Oh my God. I will never, ever, ever, ever go back to dial-up, no matter how expensive this gets. I will never go back. And then this thing called Verizon Fios came out. To the house. Fiber optic internet and TV. And they didn't have my area yet, but in Tampa, or Brandon in my case, they started rolling out at some point. It was like the second city to get it, I think. Second or third city. And I was like, oh, I want it. I'm watching it. I'm like going there every week, every month, checking it out. Do they have it? Is it available yet? Hey, TV's not available yet, but the internet is. I don't care about the TV. I just want fiber cable. I want to try it out, fiber internet. Which then blew the doors off of cable modems. And even though, by the way, by that time, cable modems were a lot faster than 1 megabit. But I had, where cable modems like, 15 megs down, 1 meg up, or 2 megs up, upload. Verizon Fios, what is your service? It's 10 megs down, the lowest one, 10 megs up. We also have 15 and 20. So I can get 20 megs down and 20 megs up. Yes, sir. There's no limit nope, no limit. My goodness, sign me up. And then I got it. It is fantastic. Okay? So my little analogy, I will never go back to dial-up, is the same thing. I would not be going back to the 1800s horse and carriage, buggy, sweating it, out there when we have this beautiful technology today. I could get my little green screen. I could do videos on YouTube to my people. You know what I mean? This is a fantastic time to be around, regardless of the crap that's happening. And that's the sad part, because there is that crap that's happening. Bankers, fraud, corruption, corrupt freaking rotten politicians, passing laws, trying to take away our freedoms. Why can't they just effing leave us alone? Why can't you just leave us the F alone? There's plenty to go around for everybody. Everybody can have everything. You guys have all the power you want. You have all the money you want. Leave us alone. Just go do your own little thing. Go do your pet project somewhere else. Excuse me, J-Snip. You guys are our pet project. Oh. Gotcha. Take care.